Hello and welcome to Miniature Adventures. I'm Big Lee, and this week I want to ask the question, who chooses the games you play? So this week I'm going back to doing a few subscribers' questions. I have been keeping a note of people that have raised questions, and I'm going to read you one here. I haven't written it down. So David Tuck, thank you very much, said, are you a club gamer or do you play with a group of friends? And who chooses what games your group plays? Are you a leader or a consumer in your group? So thank you very much for that question. So I'm part of a group but not really a club. As anyone who follows this channel will know, I play with a group collectively known as Postage Rejects, but we're not a club, just a group of friends. They sort of adopted me. They're a long-standing group. They've been playing for many more years than me. They sort of adopted me because they encountered me through my blog, and I've been playing with the Rejects now for over a decade, and they've become very good friends. But we're not really a club. It's a very loose affiliation of friends, you know, a group of about a dozen people. Some people have come and gone. We play remote games for those people that have moved away and so on, but we're not a club. But then to the second part of that question, who chooses the games that we play? Well, for many years, to be honest, most of the games played in the Shed of War were chosen by our leader, Posty. Stuart, it's his house, his shed, his massive megalomaniacal collection of figures, every period known to man and beast. So we would go and play the games that he put on. He enjoys being an umpire more than a player. He enjoys painting armies. So basically he would pick a game and then put the call out, and whoever can make a game turns up. So again, very ad hoc, maybe one, sometimes two games a month, but very much whatever he picks. And one of the advantages of that is that we have managed to play pretty much a different game every time we turn up. You know, it would be possible for me to get dozen, 15 games with the Rejects in during the course of the year, and every single one would be a different period, sometimes even in different scales. So that's one of the major advantages. However, obviously COVID and lockdown changed that slightly. We, for those of us that were online, and sadly Stuart is a bit of a dinosaur, he doesn't even have so much as a smartphone, let alone a computer. For those of us that were online, we started playing more remote games, and that has become a bit of a theme of 2022 and will do running into 2023, playing a lot more remote games as a group, and that has opened the door up a little bit to other members of the group wanting to run their own games, either online or indeed down the Shed of War. So I have put on games in the Shed of War, you know, got a time slot and a date from Posty and said, right, I want to use your shed, I'm going to invite the guys down, and Posty's been able to get a game. Sometimes he just wants to watch, which is fine, but the point is he's letting us have a little bit more access to the shed to run our own games. So I've played, like I say, with my own collections and commercial sets of rules. We've had, Richard has been in the shed, we've either playing some commercial sets like Königskrieg, various other sets again with his collections, or indeed rules that he's developed himself. So for instance, his early French Revolutionary rules that he put on at a show a few years ago. We spent a while playtesting those, and more recently we've been playing some of his 2 mil collection for the French Wars of Religion, again with a set of rules that he's sort of developing himself. So we've been playing a series of games, letting him develop the rules, effectively playtesting it for him. And going into this year, there's going to be a lot more group activity online. We're going to be doing a lot more remote games as well as some physical games down the shed. Again, we've run by Richard this time. Playing it, we're looking towards playing a campaign. So he spent a lot of time running some games physically and online, testing out different rule sets so that we can decide on the best way to do a campaign. Something that the group hasn't done for many years, and in fact I've never done with this particular group of people. I've never had the opportunity to play a campaign series of games with Rejects, so I'm quite looking forward to that. It could be very interesting. I fully expect to be at the bottom of the league table by the time we're finished, but I also expect to thoroughly enjoy myself. But we've had other players running some games. Reject Ray has run some online games using his collection of figures. And occasionally, because we all take turns to run a demo game at one of our favourite shows, Broadside, every year, and like I say, we take turns to be the person that sets up runs and does all the models. We also have some test games before the show. So again, over the years, we've all managed to get some time in the Shed of War to bring our own collections and our own models round and play with sets of rules either that we've bought or that we've developed ourselves. And I expect to see a bit more of that, to be honest. Stuart certainly seems to have loosened his grip on the key to the Shed of War and seems to be letting us all get more of a go. So in answer to David's original question, we were very much consumers of the games that Stuart put up for us, but we're becoming much more the providers of the games, running them ourselves now, as well as the usual brilliant games that Stuart puts on with his massive collection of figures. As I say, he's got every period known to man, and a few you probably haven't thought of, usually in several different scales. So it's always interesting, because when he puts out the call for a game, to be honest, none of us know what we're playing until we turn up. And there were years go by when I would turn up, every single game was a different set of figures, a different set of a scale, just unbelievable collection. But that's one of the advantages of playing the way that we do. If we were down a club, we would probably be playing the same set of rules over and over again. We have, as a group, been discussing the benefits of playing a campaign where we get to really master a set of rules, which is why Richard is going to be running a campaign game for us later in the year. As an addendum to this, we've also started playing some games with Jonathan Freitag in the US. They're remote games, so again, we're consuming the games he puts on for us, although he's asking us what we want to play. And they've been really enjoyable, thoroughly good games. He's a great umpire, put on some brilliant games for us as a group. As I say, in answer to David Tuck's original question, we were almost exclusively consumers of what was provided for us, but we're becoming much more now the providers of our own games, playing a lot more variety. And in that respect, I think a lot of that is to do with the break that we had during COVID. So if anything, that was one of the rare benefits that came out of that rather sad period of time when we couldn't get together face to face to play games. So as usual with these sort of videos, I want to just put out the question to you in response to David's original question. Are you a consumer? Do you turn up for club games or with your group of friends and play what other people provide? Or are you the sort of person that provides the game? Or is it a bit of a mix of both? As always, I would love to hear from your own experience, what sort of things you play and whether you are a consumer or a supplier of games, a provider. So please do so in the comments below. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and of course if you did, please like, subscribe and share. And if you want to keep up to date with my weekly videos, please hit the bell notification icon. So until next week, look after yourself, get as much gaming as you can, and of course, keep rolling high.